A lot of people, that's how they think. They think if they get into the food truck, it'd be cheaper, but it's almost a double of the restaurant. The only good thing is on the food truck that you own it. The food truck, it's a show. Because that's what is the whole point is bringing a restaurant to the street.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the SaaS Cafe, where we talk with restaurant owners and industry experts on how technology is reforming and changing the industry. Today, I have the pleasure of being joined by Andy Krkyan. Good enough? Close enough?
Yeah.
Andy's an interesting guest who I've been wanting to speak with, primarily because he has a lot of expertise, not just in general restaurants, the building of kitchens, things of that nature, but he also has a very interesting food truck concept. It's pizza on a school bus, pizza on a bus.
Yeah.
So first of all, welcome, Andy.
Thank you.
Happy to have you on the show. And maybe we can start a little bit with you sort of introducing yourself and some of what you've done.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I did a lot of restaurants. I'm not a person for a restaurant because a restaurant's like one location. Just you cannot move around. And then I just look at the food trucks. I said, what's going on with the food trucks? So one day I just get up and then me and my daughter just walking around all that food trucks events, street events and this and that. And then I see it like a lot of food trucks. And then I went back and I said, I want to build something that it looks different. And my background is a little bit pizza because I love pizza. And I said, there's no pizza trucks. And I see pizza trailers, like people, they do a lot of things. And I start researching it. And then I went to the shop and I see there's a bus sitting there, school bus. They started it for a restaurant, not to move that truck. That truck doesn't have to move it. So they were going to build it like a kitchen. I said, what if I could move this truck? It's a 40 feet by 8. It's almost 300 square feet of kitchen, any standard fast food kitchen. I said, I'm going to do it because I'm that kind of guy. If I want to do something, and I like to do it different. And then we start building it. We're building it 4 times. We went to the health department. They said, nope, this is not available. I said, okay. And then it took us almost a year and a half, just the permits.
Wow.
Yeah. What is it? Because every time we submitted it, they say, why you need this? Why you need this? Why you need this? And my mind was to have a wood fire in there. Because right now, I don't know if you noticed that this couple of years, particularly California, wants a wood fire because they didn't care back in the days, you know?
Yeah,
it was just a Domino's, Pizza Hut, gas, and they don't care. People didn't, until now, they ask me, what's different? And then you cannot explain it until they don't taste it.
Yeah, it's something you have to eat.
Yeah, but this couple of years, because of the internet, everybody's saying wood fire, wood fire, wood fire. Cooking is different. The ashes, the cleanness, the heat, everything.
Yep.
Yeah, and then I say, okay, let me just do a wood fire. And then when I take to health department, they just look at it. They say, it's a huge kitchen. What I have to do? You know, they said all the regulations, you have to change it, all this and that. So finally we got the proof, the design, the permits, we got the proof. Now we have to build it. So we start building it 2022. The concept itself, it's the pizza, food truck, and then basically you just need that people to show it who you are and what you do. So that's my background of the pizza because I want to take it to the somewhere that every truck's like you've seen it. It looks like a FedEx or UPS truck, square boxes.
Yeah.
But when this thing it just comes out, that's the way.
It's a unique idea. I think the theme is very cool. And I think it makes a lot of sense to people. And to be honest, I was surprised that I've never seen even something remotely similar before.
Yeah.
But hearing some of your struggles getting it
it
rolling,
is hard. It is hard.
So I'm curious then, you have this pretty cool idea. You spend all this time to make it happen, jumping through permit hoops left and right, all this regulation, red tape. And finally, they end up just telling you more or less that the major problem is the size of the bus, right? So what did you end up ultimately having to do to even make use of the bus?
I cannot right now go any place on the streets. I'm just doing it right now, only caterings, events. That's why another 6 months, I wasn't in the business because of just get all the insurance If you're going to go to right now, we have a school accounts, county accounts, a lot of corporate accounts, LAX, like airport accounts. But you don't realize that people say, oh, that's good that you go to the schools. But to walk into the schools, you need like 4 kinds of insurance because it's hard. Because not only insurance, but you have to be careful because all the allergy or the like totally change. For food truck industry, you need to have a little bit of experience on the kitchen because you built once, you cannot go back. Because once they put it in the car, you cannot tear it down. So that's why a lot of people, they get confusion. They say, how come the food truck is expensive? Because you do once, after 1 year, you don't use it, that food truck is zero. You cannot sell it.
So this is kind of a topic that I wanted to jump into. There's a big question for a lot of people looking to get into the food service industry on what path they should take. So obviously, I would assume at least the end all be all goal for most people trying to get in the industry would be a brick and mortar restaurant, if not multiple locations, all this kind of stuff. But a lot of people have at least see a food truck as a lesser entry point. Certainly, I mean, if you're talking about like buying a location, it's definitely cheaper. Rents in LA might be a different debate depending on where you're trying to go and the style of restaurant and all of that. But most people see, I would say on average, a food truck as a cheaper entry point. I'm just curious what the actual experience is like. Obviously, with the pizza bus, you had a lot of issues, but I would say for the average food truck, what does that process really look like for people?
Right. A lot of people, that's how they think. They think if they get into the food truck, it'd be cheaper, but it's almost a double of the restaurant.
Double?
Yes.
Really?
Because I'm gonna give you like 3, 4 example, and then right now you just said it because buying a place, renting a place, the only good thing is on the food truck that you owned it. Besides that, you still have a rent because you cannot park it to your bike rack. A lot of people they don't know until they go to the final. They spend a couple of $100,000. They say, sir, you cannot park it in your parking lot. You have to take it to commissary. Right now, average commissary, you're looking for between 200 to 350 a week. End of the day, the way food truck works, at the end of the day, the food truck needs to go to the commissary to empty it out, to put a water, to connect it, because the day you pass your health department, your refrigerators have to have a power. Cannot shut it down.
Ever.
Yeah. To drive distance. So if you want to have a good location, good parking lot, let's say if you want it in Valley, right? So you don't want to park it in Pasadena or Long Beach. My truck, I'm paying almost $500 a week to park it because it counts as 2 trucks.
I mean, to be honest, anyone listening to the audio of this, I'm sorry, you're just out of luck. But we're gonna have to put some pictures or find a video clip or something so people watching can see the size of this thing.
Good thing is that you could move around. Today, you don't like doing business in Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
You could go to Pasadena. You could go to Glendale. But still, the life of the food truck, it's between 1 year or 2 years. Why I say life of that? So you have to decide where do you want to park. Because if you keep moving around, people, they're not going to know you.
Yeah, they need to know where to go to get your food. I have seen a handful, maybe off the top of my head, food trucks in the past that on certain days go to different locations and they advertise that. So, or even they change halfway through the day. So breakfast, lunch rush, they're in the Valley, dinner time, they're in downtown.
Yeah, because of you have a kitchen. It's like movable kitchen.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. I'm going to compare right now just a little bit so you get between restaurant and food truck. Because restaurant, you cannot change your menu every 5 minutes, right? You can just say, oh, today I'm going to do burger. In 5 minutes, I'm going to do tacos. But with food truck, you could do it. Or you just have to drive another street. Because you could be a taco on this street, and then you see it doesn't work out. You could turn another street. You could do a burger. And a lot of chefs, a lot of owners, when they get into the restaurants, they want to go explore, like me.
Yeah.
If you go a little bit back to me, I used to have a restaurant, but you know what? I didn't like it. I didn't have the right thing in the right place because mine is 90% is exotics pizzas.
I guess that's actually an interesting benefit to the truck specifically is if you're doing, I mean, we'll just keep the example the same. If you're doing pizza and you want to sell in a certain neighborhood, they don't like your pizza or need your pizza in that neighborhood, you just go
Yeah, my
someplace
next
else.
topic is this. Let's say I go farmers markets, right? For example, I don't put a lamb chop or a ribeye steak. By the way, I have those on my menu. For instance, if I go to schools, cheese and pepperoni. Who cares you have a, let's say, expensive salmon pizza?
Yeah.
But the kids like cheese and pepperoni. So that's the beauty of the truck. You could control your menu. That's the only one thing.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where if you're used to seeing a taco truck around the corner and then magically one day he adds like burgers to his menu, you're not going to be as shocked as you walk into, you know, an Italian deli down the street and suddenly he adds a bunch of burgers to his menu.
Like you go to like a steakhouse and then they say, oh, you want to have a pizza. Now they do it, but you're going to say, hold on, it's a steakhouse.
At least initially, right? Yeah.
Right now, restaurants, they always want to have a food truck.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask about this too. What is that in general? Like, is it just more exposure for the restaurant? They're trying to get their food out there. Why do they all want to have a supplementary truck?
Yeah, at the end of the day, everybody wants to do a catering. You know, a lot of restaurants, that's another business for the restaurant to do your catering. The only way you could do a catering, either you have to buy something, put it everything in there and take it, deliver it, or you will have a food truck. So a lot of people, they want to have a food truck. But when they see that, okay, if I'm going to get a food truck, someone needs to be running that food truck because it's totally different restaurant. And when you're designing a truck, you have to make sure, you know, if you don't use that knife, don't put it in there.
Limited space, yeah.
Limited space, limited storage, and you need to have your sinks to wash the stuff. Like it took us almost 6 months. We want to put a mixer inside our truck to do the dough, right?
Yeah.
You know what they came out? They say, how are you going to wash this? The pot. Because it's a 20 gallon.
Yeah.
So you have to, and you cannot wash it inside the like hand sink or this and that. So you see, that's a problem. So right now, a lot of things is for the food truck, make sure you know what you're doing it. That's my another opinion. Like if you want me to give them advice, make sure that exactly you know what you're doing it. Don't change your mind because it takes 6 months to build it. But for a restaurant, you could move around.
Yeah, it's all we want to do fresh made ice cream. You buy the machine, you put it in your kitchen, it's all done, right? You want your food truck to have ice cream, that's a whole different set of problems you have to look at.
I used to have ice cream. I designed it to have like ice cream. But the problem is like marketing wise, I didn't want it kill the ice cream because you have a pizza and ice cream. Kids loved it. But right now we're having a problem. Parents, when they see an ice cream, they say first buy the food, not the ice cream. You know, sometimes that's why we took it out because, you know, you don't want to hurt your customers, you know.
So, I mean, if overall, if you had to ballpark an estimate, how much would the average food truck cost?
County by county, it's different. To build it, the most expensive and the most rules and regulation is LA County.
So how much average size food truck?
For average, you need at least 18 feet trucks. Back in the days, trucks was you buy like $30,000-$40,000 a truck. And then to build a kitchen, between you're looking for like 70 to 100,000. So average complete, you're looking between like 120 to 160 to have a nice kitchen. But you're not finishing with that because obviously, let's say you go rent a place and then you have to start doing your marketing, you have to do all the designing on the truck. I always tell them, if you don't have $200,000, don't even think about it. Because at least 4 months, oh, by the way, when I say 200,000, because 4 months, you're not sure how you're going to run it. It doesn't matter if you're
that seems like an astronomical amount of money though. Like I feel like some people are just going around, they buy some used truck, they clean it up, they repaint it or something like that, pass the permits or whatever, and then, you know, they feel like 20-30 grand, they're out on the street ready to go.
Because the problem is if you buy the old truck every 3 months. In 1 year, you have a 3 inspection, health department. But if you change the name in health department, you have to take it to the exactly pass it from the zero. Each year, they're just changing the rules. I'll give you an example. 3 years ago, for emergency exit, all you just need a small window. And then they change it. All you just need I'll give you what the number so you get. It's like 24 by 36.
Okay.
And then they change it. No, it have to be on the ceiling, on the roof. And then they said, no, you cannot do the roof.
They want you to, it's on fire. They want you to climb out.
Yeah. So you used to have like the stairs come out and then you climb out, but no one's using that stairs. So they say, no, it have to be one side door, the other side the window.
Okay.
So if it's like that, because you have to think about it, average food truck, you cannot be in there more than 2 to 3 people.
Yeah, that cramped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This 2025, actually it started 2024 September, you need to have actually 2 doors. LA County.
In the back of the truck.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Back, front, you need to have 2 exit doors. So one to get in, one to come out. Let's say one in the back, one in the side. Usually
Yeah, okay.
But right now the problem is on that. So when you have 2 doors, your space is getting smaller because you cannot put anything on the front of the door.
I was gonna say it's usually just the back door.
So right now, it's have to be one on the side, one in the back. That's only LA County. Riverside, it still goes to the size of the windows. So a lot of counties, they give you, but if you pass in LA County, you will pass everywhere, by the way. That's the beauty of it. So if you're getting a permit from LA County, it's easy to go to Riverside, Ventura County. We're talking about in this area. But same truck, take it to different state, you don't need anything.
So, and then in the grand scheme of things, then I would say, like, if you were arguing this point with somebody from a different state, would it still hold the same points, or
no? And then the difference is the framing and then the stainless steel inside the material. So you could build it anything besides the California and LA County. You could build a different steels. Like they have food steels like that.
So their idea of maybe spending 20, 30 grand somewhere else is probably like a feasible idea.
Yeah.
But it's just here in LA.
Yeah, but even if you bring it in here, although it's not going to pass.
No, yeah, I understand. I'm just clarifying that the regulations and how expensive it is because
of the LA County. I'm going to give you an example. When you're building inside, it's have to be 6 inch from the floor, everything high.
Okay.
You cannot touch the floor because at the end of every day you take to your commissary, you have to wash out
the truck.
Everything.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So some people in Florida, they brought a truck. It's only 4 inch. It passed. They didn't see it. But every time he washed it with the hose, he's getting everything on the equipment. Like for instance, refrigerator.
It gets wet.
It gets wet, it gets damaged.
So I'm starting to see then, with all of this criteria, why the street vendor is such a popular option.
Yeah. The popular option of that because of it's easy, not spending money, but their dream is to have a food truck.
Right. So
everybody's like any street vendor.
This is kind of an interesting thing because at least we'll stick to LA because that's obviously where we are. But it was always sort of seemed like the path to a restaurant, right? Was, let's say now it's street vendor, save up enough money, and then you would imagine maybe food truck, build up your brand, build up that, and then brick and mortar locations. With how expensive a food truck is in Los Angeles, it almost seems like maybe you skip the food truck step and go from street vendor to maybe multiple street vendor locations to just brick and mortar when you can afford it. Yeah,
but a lot of people, a lot of street vendors, once they have their name, they go to a restaurant because all they just have to see is someone is closing down, and then they're just taking over. And then location. You don't see street vendor making money to go rent it from Beverly Hills a restaurant. No.
Oh, of course.
So it's very different. To get a restaurant for them, it's easy, but they were thinking it. What if today, I have customers in here, but if you're renting that place, you're not going to get the same customers coming to you because there's another street vendors doing the same thing. And then the vendors, the good things on the vendors. I'm not saying they're a bad thing. Is the good things on the vendors. So you could still go like street by street as long as you have a good food.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
this is interesting also because there's, especially through COVID, and we saw the at-home
Mhm.
kitchens
Yeah.
starting to pop up.
Yeah, a
People can
lot
get
of-
licenses to cook
No,
out
it
of
used
their
to,
home.
back in this, they used to have that, but it just they go to catering, like you cater.
Well, I've seen them even like on delivery apps and stuff
Yeah.
now. You can do
Mhm.
small batch orders, few hours a day,
Up
something
to
like that.
70,000, you could do it.
Yeah.
Once you pass the 70,000.
So how do those fit into the ecosystem, really?
Basically, it gives you the opportunity to open a restaurant. At the end, what is it? You want to have a nice restaurant. People know you that as a restaurant. I want to have my own name, a restaurant, like Pizza on a Bus restaurant.
Mhm.
But particularly me, I can't because that name is for that truck.
Yeah, the branding doesn't
Yeah.
match.
Right now, I'm thinking in opening the second one, like, the second one, but small buses. But I'm still going to call it Pizza on a Bus and it's going to look like a bus. Just me personally. When I decide to buy a food truck, I say my brand is going to be the look. It just changed the life of the food truck industry. But I recommended research and have a concept. Have a one thing. We built an ice cream truck. It has only ice cream. He's selling $14 at ice cream in Marina Del Rey. I'm selling $14 a pizza. All he had just have to put the ice cream and give it to them. But he spent $400,000 on his truck. It looks like an ice cream.
This brings up an interesting idea because I've talked a lot about restaurants in general being very poor on average at marketing and promoting their businesses. We've seen this honestly get worse almost as time goes on. Almost every restaurant owner, I mean, they're not stupid. Like you sit down and they understand that social media and the internet is important, and they'd probably admit that they should be doing it, but very few of them do, let alone try, even though outsourcing and all this kind of stuff exists. So I'm curious if maybe what your thoughts are on why so few restaurants take it seriously.
You have to. Right now, if you don't have a social media, don't even think about getting to the food business. If I go back, I'm going back 10. Because if we go 5 years, you still need it.
Yeah.
But right now, don't even think about it because it's a free advertising. Because
to be honest, you probably have to go back even further, actually. You'd probably have to go back to like early 2000s where your business could be healthy.
No,
and
website,
survive.
website. Like why bigger companies, they put their website name in first. So basically they know they have website because it's a free information.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to stick onto the food truck. If your food truck driving it 5 miles in a day, let's say 10 people look at it, what they're looking at it? Your business, right?
Yep.
But for restaurants, maybe 5 people walk in front of your restaurant, they just look at it. They don't take your information because they know you're there. But if with the food truck, when you're driving it, the looks, the website, the social media, it have to be there. Then the name, make sure when you're opening a food truck, the shoulders, because people, they say, oh, we saw it, but what did you see it? It's have to be,
especially if you're moving or they're moving, they only have a glimpse.
Spelling, like if I could talk with my experience, spelling, the color, everything. Because when it's moving it, you want people right away get it. At least people, they know you have an Instagram, to put that logo in there. A lot of people, because mine says Pizza on a Bus, but it's built on a school bus. I have the school bus, cover everything, but I want to put my name, Pizza on a Bus. But it was hard to spell a school bus, pizza on a school bus.
So you switched it to bus?
But pizza on a bus. Because a lot of people, they say, oh, it's a pizza. And I always say, it's on a bus.
Why not pizza bus?
Because it's already taken.
Ah.
I wish I could do that.
Yeah.
Right now, people, when they searching it, a lot of people putting a school bus, and I come up with the school bus. But I don't want people remember as a school bus because I want to go different market. My back of the school bus, we raised it a little bit. We make it squared. We keep the front as a school bus. So in case if I park it backside, it will look like a big truck. So there's a lot of point. My side. Yeah, my side. Okay. But eventually, I keep the coloring black and yellow because of school bugs. Like if someone says, let's say we're playing a game, says, what is a black and yellow truck? You always think it's a school bus.
And I wasn't, I think, other than, to be honest, I
Mm.
hadn't actually factored in, but thinking about a lot of the trucks that I have seen over the past years,
Mhm.
the ones that did put a lot more effort into the physical design
Mhm.
of the bus on the outside, it
That
makes a
inside.
big difference. Because, I mean, you see the standard one that's just like white and it says burgers or
You know
something on
why
the
they
side.
did
You don't
that?
remember.
It's actually built on FedEx and UPS trucks. There
Okay.
is no such a thing you could go dealer and buy it box truck. You have
Mm.
to buy it from a FedEx and UPS because that's the most popular when they
Well, yeah,
manufacture.
there's thousands of them,
Yeah,
right?
and you
So
know what happened? It went down a couple of years ago because the electrical FedEx truck came out. All they don't making from 2022. There's no new trucks. So
that
you
hurt the food truck supply.
yeah.
It's a
So
crazy thought.
yeah, because right now you could. That's why it went from 40,000. Right now it's $110,000 to buy a FedEx. But at the end, the designing on the truck, it's a free advertising.
This is actually something that I wanted to touch on too with the advertising. Obviously, not just the importance of it and all that, but specifically for before
Mhm.
food trucks,
Mhm.
because you are mobile,
Mhm.
because you might have multiple points that you stop throughout the day or the week or whatever, right? Advertising and more specifically informing your location each specific day or time is obviously of critical importance, right?
Of course. Let me give you an example. When I started doing it, I was getting a $2 off on the pizza as long as they follow me on Instagram. But you have to be locally. I don't want from Pasadena. I don't want from Glendale. And people saying, why? How come? Because the guy from the Glendale, if I posted something, I'm here for 2 hours, he's not going to come down. So
Yeah.
I started giving a $2 off to just sign up, just go to my Instagram and follow me. When the customer come ask me, oh, you're just doing a market? No, I'm not doing marketing. This is what I'm telling you. I need, if I post something, Sherman Oaks, I want people to know me. I'm here. I went to $5. I was giving $5 off. I was evening out with the pricing to just collect at least 500 from Sherman Oaks. Like a lot of times, you have to bring the marketing, but you have to have a point. A lot of people, they message me, where are you going to be tonight? You see, that's what I like.
Yeah.
Right now, the popular to collect people, it's the Instagram. Why? Because they already know about it. And it's easy access because everybody, 99%, I'm sure, on their phones, they have their app. You don't have to say, oh, download Instagram and then follow me. So right now, all the social media thing is for location. It works because I'm sure every average person open up one time Instagram a day. My customers.
Probably.
Yeah, with my customers.
If you use Instagram, you're probably opening it at least once a day. And then if
I
you
got a
want
good
pizza,
result. I got a good
Yeah.
result. And then another thing is because of it's a wood fire.
Mhm.
That's another catch thing is. But right now I want to advertise on, let's say, Google. I want to advertise. You know how expensive it is? Because
Yeah.
my competition, it's a lot. Right now, Uber, DoorDash, all the like the apps, delivery apps, I don't use it. Why? People, they're saying it, how come you're not in that? Because I'm not guaranteeing myself that I'm going to stand there 8 hours.
Yeah,
Wait.
this is exactly the next topic the
Yeah.
next big topic I want to dive into. So food trucks can use
Yeah.
certain delivery apps. The process is a little bit difficult depending on which one you're trying to go for. But as far as I knew, you had to have a set address. I think, I don't remember if it was DoorDash allows you to
No,
have
right
two.
now, Grab it doesn't let you if you move around. DoorDash, it used to, like, if you're talking about right now,
Mhm.
it's totally changed. It's right now you have to have an address and you cannot change it. Once you change it, it goes to verification. So it might take a day, it might take a couple of hours. So let's say if you're here today, you just change your location, you go request it, and then you change the address, and then it's up to them. I
Do
don't
they
know how.
send somebody out to go
No,
verify you're there? Or what
No,
does that
it's
mean?
a ping point.
Oh,
Ping point.
I see.
Because one driver, if
So
comes,
they like GPS your device and
yeah,
see?
but you will know from your first order. If the driver comes, you're not there, it's gonna call DoorDash saying, "I came, but there's no food," and then they give you like they just shut it down.
Yeah, they close the store immediately.
Yeah. And then last a few months, Uber went down as of getting an order because they know you're not sure you're not open 8 hours. They make you to open 8 hours,
Yeah.
6 hours maximum.
They started valuing consistency over
and then they
everything
give
else,
you like, because of the drivers, because a lot of drivers, I used to back in there's a lot of drivers, but right now they cannot keep the driver concept. So if you're not open, you're not sure, they're not even sending you business.
I mean, so I guess I'll ask it this way then,
Yeah.
actually. If you're of a food truck, they just opened, maybe they're relatively consistent schedule. I'm going to be this place, these times, this hours, the week. Would you recommend they use apps?
Yeah, they have to, because you know what? It's still, you get into the advertising. If you're looking by advertising, it's advertising.
100%.
If you get let's say one order a month, right?
That's a new customer.
New customer.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, they say, "Oh, I just got a one," but you didn't spend anything for that. If you're comparing this area, my concept work with the flyers. Right now, I go back to another 15 years. Back in this when I was a restaurant. Right now, I'm doing the same concept and it's working. They still want to have something on their hands. I have a customer, he came and says, "I'm so sorry. I don't have any social media, but I want to call you. Do you have a number?" Right now, I'm back to the flyers. It's working perfectly for me because you know what I'm doing it? From my social media, I'm advertising the flyers. With the flyers, I'm advertising the social media. So
funneling back to each other.
And then if you're locally, which is the food truck is a locally, I always tell them, have a flyers, you're standing there, you just pass around next to it. Social media, it's not going to hurt you. Same ways as like a t-shirt.
Yeah, I don't know. Like we see a lot of people just, I don't know, maybe just fear of
Because you know why they're scared? I'll tell you, because I'm in business. Because one thing, when they're not computer person, so they think they're not going to log into our Instagram, so they get scared. So any business, food industry, even if the owner, even if you have a 20 location, even if you have your success, you want to see your social media, how it works.
Yeah.
There's no way if someone come up to me and says, "Oh, I own the restaurant, but I don't know what's going on in my social media." Come on.
Yeah. So the next thing I wanted to ask is technology in general, because you're dealing with a limited space. You can't really have all these tablets around. You don't really have options for a lot of the technology that modern restaurants would be using nowadays.
No, so I will be wrong on that. You need to use those.
No, well, I guess I'm saying there's a lot of technology that restaurants, like brick and mortar restaurants, would use nowadays or do use nowadays, that you don't necessarily have the space to fit.
Okay. That's a good point. But right now, if you have a phone in your hand, you have a POS system in your hand.
This is true.
For any food trucks, you need to have a POS system. It's a little bit expensive, don't get me wrong, because you have to have an internet printer, a tablet, 17-inch tablet. That's all you needed, and a good internet. Right now, the problem is not the POS system, it's the internet, because you're moving around. But a lot of POS systems right now, they're offering their direct connection. I don't know if you know about that.
I haven't seen.
They give you like Clover gives you a card, a SIM card. You put it inside your system automatically, like cell phone.
Hello everyone, just a quick reminder to like, subscribe, and leave us a comment or review. It really helps us grow and we'd love to hear your thoughts. Also, if you or someone you know is a restaurant owner, operator, or has a story worth sharing, we'd love to connect. Send us a message or email at thesaascafe@orders.co. Thanks again for listening. Back to the show.
A lot of food truck, they think 25-30 minutes to cook, it's good. You have
Should
to
be faster, no?
A lot of places, food truck, average food truck, you need to do between 7 to 12 minutes. If you cannot get into that if you cannot cook, then forget it. Like our average pizza takes 1.5 minutes to 3 minutes. So that's the whole nother thing.
It's supposed to be fast. It's fast food, more or less, right? Maybe you're selling much better quality than what we think of when you say
No,
fast food.
always I recommend it. Like I always tell them, food truck, it's more quality than a restaurant.
Hmm.
One thing I could say why, because you just shop that day or maybe 2 days.
Oh, you think fresher ingredients?
Everything,
Oh, okay.
everything, because you don't have a walk-in cooler that you could put your stuff in there for a couple of days. That's another bad thing is you have to shop it at least 2 days. If you're a good food truck,
Yeah.
yeah. Friday I have the schools event, almost 300 people. I don't shop until Wednesday. Why I need to? If I shop it, where I'm gonna put it?
True.
So
Yeah.
that's why the freshness I could guarantee.
That was going to be one of my last questions was pricing. Like
Uh-huh.
how does pricing your menu in a food truck differ from a brick and mortar? Kind of touched on it a little
Yeah.
bit there. It tends to be fresher. You go shopping more often. But I mean, are there any other factors? Like, are you
Yes.
factoring in gas into that equation too?
No, the thing is right now food truck price went up because of the street vendors. But right now you go to street vendors. Let's put a taco. So everybody knows taco street,
Mhm.
and then there's a taco trucks. It's the number one truck is taco truck. Even if
Yeah.
I'm a pizza truck.
They're two of the most common
Yeah.
as well. Yeah.
So right now taco went from $1.50 to $3.
On the trucks,
Yeah, on the trucks.
on average.
Yeah. But street vendors right now went to $3.50 to $4 to $5 a taco. So that's why food trucks saying it, I have this all expense. Let me raise my price.
Mhm.
But it happened last couple of years. Right now it went down. Because a lot of people they're saying it, if I'm gonna pay $5 for a taco, I will go eat it in a restaurant.
Yeah, $5 for one taco. Is
It
a
went
lot.
up.
Yeah.
It went up. But right now, what happened? The food truck, it's saying it. I have this insurance. I have this permits. I have this gas. I have this and that. When you counting a daily cost, the street vendors they don't have any daily cost,
Mm.
but you have a daily cost. Restaurant has a daily cost. Street vendors, it's a limited. So somehow they're gonna have to clean it. The street vendors because a lot of complaints, a lot of customers they realize it that if I'm gonna buy someone from same price and then there's a food truck there, at least it's a little bit cleaner and guaranteer,
Mhm.
let me buy it. And then if the food truck they don't spend that much money brand new food truck, they say if I'm gonna buy from this food truck, it doesn't look like a normal food truck, I'll go restaurant because it's the same price.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if there's no major difference in taste or quality between the three options.
Yes, there is no.
Then,
It's the
yeah.
location. I always tell them it's the location. I closed my restaurants because of the location, because I was the wrong location. Like my pizza still same almost 15, 17 years.
Wow.
It's the same concept, same exotic. But back in the days, what was hurting me? Delivery.
Mm.
And my idea was not to deliver it.
It's crazy because that's a thing now, right?
All the artists after 14 years, and I could prove anybody, 14 years ago, when you see my advertising and we don't deliver it, I want people come sit down, eat a pizza inside the restaurant. But right now, everything changed. But why I want the pizza truck? Because I got scared staying in one location.
Well, it's kind of a cool idea though too. Like, let me give you that higher quality pizza that restaurant experience brought to you.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah.
Yeah. I have to go different path to get my customers. Right now, I used to book it. Anybody just call me. But my first thing first, do you have a four car space?
Mm.
Because that's what's hurting me right now to go location to location. And then a lot of things changed, like Santa Monica, Beverly Hills, Merlos. They change it. You cannot park it in more than two car spaces. Santa Monica, it brings on the side right now bike lines. You cannot even drive it. So that's why I always tell them, in 1 year, do your marketing. In 1 year, if you cannot make your $200,000, don't even get into that business. But if you're happy going out there 5 days, 7 days, you want to go work 5 days, 7 days, 8 hours, you will make that money. I personally, I like the food truck industry. Like right now, if you say go back to a restaurant, I can't. I will have my food truck like work 1 hour a day. But imagine in that 1 hour, you will have your same customer. If you have the right food, right pricing, right system, because the system on the business, it doesn't change. Even if you're a vendor, if you're a restaurant owner, even a food truck. But for buy side, I like the food truck. It's a little bit harder.
It's interesting. It's I would say it's flexible in areas that restaurants are rigid.
Yeah.
And it's rigid in areas restaurants
I
have
could always tell them, like, if you're not thinking it not to work, don't buy a food truck, because that's a hobby. Another thing is the food truck, it's a hobby. Like you could, like, I like working in the home. Sometimes when everybody comes to my house, I cook, so that's into you.
Is there one piece of technology that's super, super important for a truck?
Depends on the food wise, because if you say like equipment wise, right? You're talking about
technology specifically.
Technology, no. Technology, one thing for your food truck, you need to have any PO system. You have to have social media. There is no way. And then internet. That's all you need as a technology.
Okay.
Because those two things, you cannot run it. As a restaurant, they have a social media, like the way you're saying it. But they were thinking it, let's get more customers.
It's solely a promotion tool. Whereas for a food truck, you need to let people know where you are, right?
Why I say PO system, like any system, it makes your life easier.
Faster too.
Faster.
You need to be quick.
Yeah. Honestly, when I started it, I used to have a touch screen ordering it. Just because of the location, I took it at that. Because a lot of people, they come standing it. They don't know what to do with. Depends the area, and then depends the technology. But you have to be ready for everyone.
This is kind of a theme that goes across almost every topic now with restaurants. It's preference and acceptability. Restaurants need to be available in as many places as they can be, and they need to have all the options for customers to access their business as they want, because people like different things. Maybe I don't want to talk to somebody and I'm down to use the kiosk and just walk up and you call my number and that's it, we're done, right? Versus somebody else, maybe a little older, wants to come up, have the conversation when they order, what's good, what should I have, that kind of thing. So you kind of need to offer all of it.
Like when they say restaurant, you have to think about it. There's a fast food, there's a dining, there's a
you have different segments too. That are
remember, right? Everybody changed it. Like even McDonald's, even Taco Bell, they have that kiosk system and everything, right? What happens? Still, people, they walk because they don't want to touch that thing.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's accessibility. You need to have all of it, right? Some people want the drive-through. Some people want the kiosk. Some people want to walk up to the counter, like they have been for years.
Put all that together.
Yep.
You have to have it in the food truck. Why? Because you're a drive-through. You're a restaurant. You're a walking person. The bad thing is they could come and talk to you. They could see your cook. They could see who's working, who's taking order. If someone doesn't understand about your ordering. So that's the beauty of it. So everything you will see in the food truck.
It's on display.
That's what I'm saying. Not everybody can say, here's the stage and dance, right? You get scared.
I guess that is a point I never thought. There's no secrets on a food truck.
No. A lot of people, they close their windows. A lot of people, they put covers on it. But a lot of people, they get scared to order from them. You have to have a service window so people can talk. Because you're inside somewhere and someone's standing there.
Well, I mean, I'm just picturing the scenario, right? If so guy's like pops his head out. What do you want? The hot dog. Okay. And you can't see anything. And then it's just blacked out. And then he just hands me a hot dog and closes it. Yeah. I'd be real nervous.
That business, it wouldn't last long. The food truck, it's a show. People get it, but don't close your service windows or don't close your kitchen. You have to make sure you're comfortable, your cleanness, your setup. Because a lot of people, they say, oh, it's a school bus. What do? You're going to eat inside? No, it's a kitchen. And when you say it's a kitchen, some people, honestly, they don't know what's a kitchen. They're commercial kitchen. Like not everybody knows what's a hood, what's this, right?
Yeah.
When they walk into the kitchen, then you will see it. Like in East Coast, it's opposite. Like food truck, it's open. Because that's what is the whole pointing as bringing a restaurant to the street.
Mhm.
That's another beauty of it. So people, they want to see what do you do inside.
Yeah, let them show.
That's why a lot of vendors, they become a famous vendors. You see, oh, this vendors has a 400 people line because it cooks in front of you. You're happy that he doesn't put something else, right? But you don't see it. He doesn't have a refrigerator.
Yeah, there's like a there's a maybe you could argue whether it's fake or not, but there's a level of trust when you see somebody cook it in front of you and then just give it to you. Yeah, you didn't see what he did up to that point when he took it out.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
is,
so maybe there is a little.
And they sometimes I see this reel when they say this guy has this grill and this. They buy from Home Depot grill. If you're gonna do street vendors, at least go buy a real equipment. Don't buy it from something from like your backyard grill. You bring it, and then with the ice chase, like you see, that's points I have to show them. I have to talk about it.
Blackstone and an igloo cooler.
Yeah, because it's gonna hurt my food truck business.
Yeah.
But a lot of vendors, they realize it because a lot of customers, they see that your food is on the floor. And then what happened when summer comes, the heat, when rain comes, he's not there.
I would say the average person doesn't care until they get sick.
You know why
and then they start caring.
You know what they don't care? The pricing.
Yeah, it's
right now, it's almost 6 months. Every vendors, they're not happy on the street vendors because they work more than food truck. Because they have to put everything back in there and then bring it down. And then sometimes you ask them one question: where you stored it? Inside the car, or you take it home? But it's not clean. It's not sanitized. So that's why when health department come, it gives you violation of the not cleanness. If you're inside someone's property, they cannot do anything. So a lot of places, why they go front of the big stores? Because supermarket is not going to complain you if who cares, you take a few parking spots. And then for the food truck industry, the employee bathroom. So every 45 minutes, you have to tell your employee go to the bathroom. So you have to have a next to it bathroom. But for Riverside County, if you don't have a written down contract with one of the stores that you could use their bathroom, you cannot park your food truck because there's a lot of, so that's why.
So I would definitely do your research if you want to have a food truck. Make sure you know what you need depending on where you're going.
Yeah.
It's probably going to cost a lot more than you think it does.
No, it is. It is. Right now it is.
Be very deliberate with every decision you make because it's much harder to change.
And do one thing, just the one thing. Don't mix it because you will be success if you do one thing. So food truck, I say more than 5 days. You don't want to work more than 5 days. Choose a day. It doesn't matter. You could choose it but give yourself at least 2 days. So do your 1 day for all your social media, all your paperwork, all your ordering, and then next day just relax because you have a 5 day in front of you.
Yeah.
Don't kill yourself.
Yeah, a lot of good wisdom, a lot of advice. Definitely very knowledgeable on the subject.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do the final kind of spicy question that I ask every guest, as well as the little kind of fun speed topics. Now that we're at the end, my favorite banger, looking back on your time in the industry, what's one thing you think you've done very well? And what's one thing you think you could have done better?
One thing I done very well because it's a different food. Something unique and something basically it's different because there's no sugar, no oil in my pizza dough, wood fire. Number one thing is, and then it's on the food truck. Better?
Yeah.
Cut it in half, have a food truck.
The size.
Yeah, the size right now, it's killing me because of I cannot go a lot of places. I'm waiting for the calls to go a lot of places. So that's why if I could do 2 trucks
instead of the big one. But right now I'm thinking it like everybody's saying it. If you don't have that look, no one's it might not be as big.
You know how many people, besides like off of the topic, how many people I told them for testing it? Oh, I could come do the catering back of your yard. He says, no, the bus is not going to be there. I said, no, they don't want it because they want to show off that in front of their house. The bus makes or breaks it. Yeah. You want to have a nice looking food truck or you want to have a truck. Yeah. Okay.
Makes sense. I absolutely understand what you mean. It's the novelty, right? Of the
Yeah,
drug,
just the
so.
business wise, it's hurting it because it's big. But I want to push it. I know what I wanted. I know exactly where to do it. But sometimes it just stops you. I'll give you an example. You want to go somewhere, you look at the time, and then you get into the freeway and it's traffic. What are you gonna do?
That's true. Yeah.
Same thing. It
Mhm.
happened to me. I don't have problem with food. I don't have problem with cooking. But when I want to go somewhere, that traffic is killing me. Another thing,
Yeah.
parking.
Yeah.
That's another
okay.
thing because
These definitely are LA problems though.
yeah,
for
because
sure.
and the weight, it cannot be more than 18,000. I'll give you an example. We went to the Port of Ranch. Honestly, I went to the top of the hill. I came out, the asphalt, it got peeled off. Like,
Oh,
I guess they already know they're thinking it. Their roads is not like,
it's not made for that.
yeah.
Let's do some fun questions.
Go ahead.
Okay. So kind of speed round, but if you give me an interesting answer, we may stop and see.
Okay.
But they're kind of general. So pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Of course. But if you're putting a pineapple on the pizza, don't buy it with the sugar pineapple. Either fresh, because you're putting a syrup on the pineapple. Or
Well, I personally balance mine.
Mhm.
Pineapple, my toppings, my go-to toppings, if I want a pineapple pizza, it's pineapple, pepperoni, jalapeno. Yeah.
My personally, the one I like it, and almost 12 years, it's one of my exotics pizza. It's a spicy Hawaiian barbecue chicken.
All right, let's keep going here.
Okay.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
As of today or back in the days? Because
in general, what do you think? Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Of course.
Okay. We have people who say no. That's why.
What is it?
What do you mean? What is it?
Then if people saying, ask them same question. If they say,
yeah. They don't think so. They think it's its own thing. Like you have a hot dog bun. It's
but
its
it's a sandwich.
I think it's a sandwich too. I'm just saying there's people who
yeah,
think
no, it just the bread. When anything you cut it, you put something in. It's a sandwich.
I agree. Next one. You have a tray of some kind of baked good, brownies, baklava, any kind of baked good. Do you prefer the edge or the center?
Oh, I always choose the edge.
The edge?
Yeah.
Crunchier?
Crunchier and it cooks better.
Okay.
Like me.
I'm a middle guy. I like
so you like soft.
I like soft, doughy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you see, that's the thing is.
Yeah. So chicken wings. Do you prefer the drums or flats?
That's a good question.
Or are you a boneless guy?
No. Forget it. But boneless, it's a
nugget.
It's a nugget and it's a compressed. No, I'll do both. It doesn't matter for me.
You like both? I like flats better.
Yeah,
the
for
texture, crunchy.
For me, if you ask me question plain or with the sauce, I'll choose plain. Another question, it could be that and that, because a lot of people, they think they're putting a sauce. It's prefer, like something like I like plain.
Speaking of dipping, ranch or blue cheese?
None of them.
No,
I don't eat dairies.
Okay,
blue cheese, forget it.
Blue cheese is disgusting.
Yeah,
that's me.
Yeah.
Does ketchup belong on everything? There are people who put ketchup on almost
even
everything.
they put it on the pizza. I will say not everything. I'm not agree with it.
I would say ketchup can go with more food than a lot of other condiments.
Yes.
But it doesn't belong. All right, the big one.
Mm-hmm.
What is the right way to cook a steak?
What do you mean? The right way?
Doneness, temperature.
Oh, temperature wise?
Yeah.
There's not a right way, because how you gonna serve it? If you ask me, I like medium well.
I thought this question would be so much more interesting, asking restaurateurs and chefs and whatnot.
If
they all give the same answer. The right way is how the customer wants it. And I'm so disappointed. The professional answer. That's what I'm gonna refer to that as.
Yeah, it is perfect. If someone's chef says no, it's have to be this. No, you can't. There's no right. The right answer is whatever they wanted.
All right. So I guess to wrap up then, I don't know, is there any last piece of advice before we close up the show that you'd like to offer anyone?
This is what I say. If you don't liking to doing it, don't even think about it, because one day you're just going to say, this is not mine, because you have to like it. I understand some people from office, from construction, from every place coming get into the business, but somehow when they get into the business, they like doing it.
Mhm.
So whatever you're doing it, make sure you're liking it. And then always get it someone's statistics, because that's how you know. That's my advice.
Yeah. Assuming you actually listen to the feedback and stuff that they're giving you.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. If you don't get any feedback, then forget it. Your business is not going to run.
Yeah, this was something that our last guest touched on,
Mhm.
that very few people are willing to actually go out of their way and try to give constructive feedback to businesses. They're more often than not just go and leave a bad review because it's easy, and there's not really any true constructive criticism in there.
If you get a bad review, all you just have to make sure it's not fake. And then good reviews, don't even think about it that you get excited. Good reviews, if they put a good reviews, just continue.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get it excited, because
Yeah.
out of 100 good reviews, one bad review is going to kill your 100 reviews.
All right. I think that sounds like a good place to wrap up. So once again, thank you, Andy. Is there any particular places you want to plug for Pizza on a Bus website?
No, that's
social
it. Just
media, anything like that?
just itself, the name itself. If you guys if you guys want to see me more out there, usually I'm trying to go farmers markets.
So
That's
if you're
all.
in the LA area,
Yeah,
and you're curious
in Valley, in Sherman Oaks, LA is too big.
okay,
Or just follow us on Pizza on a Bus.
okay,
Or you could, every day we're posting it what we have.
okay, Pizza on a Bus. Check it out. It's pretty cool. We'll have to find some pictures and stuff that we can.
Yeah,
put in
we
the
might
video
bring it one day
so
in here.
people-
You guys
pizza
can test.
people can check it out. It is a pretty unique experience. So yeah. But again, this has been episode 4. Your host Elliot Beckner. Thank you, Andy, for joining me. It was a pleasure of
problem.
talking with you. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Until next time, adios.